Hi, this is Joey O'Neill from Sound Systems Incorporated out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And today I'm going to give a very general overview of how the audio mixer is set up at Conway Free Will Baptist Church. Installation we just finished in the last couple of days. There'll be a couple videos. And the purpose of this video is not very technical based. We realize that a lot of people in the church turn over and there's a lot of volunteers in the church. So this isn't a technical diagram. This is more of a how-to type setup. I get a lot of people who will call me and say, why didn't you tell them about this? Why didn't you tell them about this? Well, the purpose of this is just to lay out. We do hands-on testing and hands-on training extensively with the church, but this just archives and it gives them a reason to go back and go through some things. But you know, we try to keep everything very simple. No big words, post hole digger and absorption coefficients and stuff like that. So I'm just going to go through the way the mixer is set up. And what we did is we set this mixer up like the previous old PV analog mixer that the church had. We've also installed, that you can't see in this video, but we have a laptop running ProPresenter, a couple CD players, HDMI matrix, another computer recording, a USB camera, video monitors in the room, and I'll show that on a separate recording. But the purpose of this is just to show the church members how to get around and how we set up the mixer in relation to what their needs were. First of all, we have a starter switch that fires the system up. This is the Behringer X32, which is a digital mixer. The reason the church chose this particular mixer is they have Vacation Bible School and other events in the church. Obviously, external or outside gospel groups will come in to perform. So this mixer will allow them to set up a service setting and set up something for Vacation Bible School or any other church. They can be in a digital mixer. They can actually load a preset and faders will move back and all the settings will go back to where they needed them to be. Alright, general overview. The way the mixer is set up is in really two sections. This section from the corner to the center section are the inputs. This section over here is the outputs, and then our last fader to the side is our master volume or our main output. And we usually leave that setting somewhere around 0 or -5. Currently is set at 0. When you turn the system on, the master volume automatically goes down to 0 or infinity, and that's on purpose. It could be changed and it could automatically stay at the location that it was previously set. But for safety purposes, if somebody leaves a microphone on or something, it just automatically turns itself down. So once you fire the system up, you have to take the master volume and bring it up to the desired setting. Right now it's right at 0 or unity gain. The inputs are the items coming into the mixer. They have a bass guitar, acoustic guitar, drum set, electronic keyboard, electronic organ, choir microphones, pulpit microphones, wireless microphones, and we're also feeding a congregation mic for our camera recording. They all fall into this section right here. And this is really broken up into 3 areas. This little cool little green button over here says CH1 through 16. And when that button is engaged, meaning when it's green, then these channels become labeled 1 through 16. And we currently have the pianos in there, pulpit microphone, a few wireless microphones, and pastor's lavalier. If I push the next button, which is 17 through 32, now these channels become obviously channels 17 through 32, and they are labeled accordingly. Basically open from channels 17 to 26. Choir located in a couple of channels. We have a laptop playback, a CD playback, split track, and a DVD player coming into the console. The next section, which we don't have anything plugged into at the time, are the auxiliary inputs and the effects. There's a lot of reverb and delay and echo effects inside the console. So let's go back, for example, and I'm going to start. I'm not sure what's in the CD player, but I guess we'll find out here in a second. Alright, so our CD player is set up on channel 17 through 32, and it's coming in on channel 31. Now, I can mute the channel, it goes away. I have a slider control. This controls the level of the audio in the house speakers only. I can do some pretty cool things with it, like obviously I can unmute it. And if I would like to change anything of the quality of sound, for example, adding equalization, making it crisper, clearer, more bass, more treble, or tweaking it to where I got a more pleasing sound than what I was looking for, I can unmute the channel. All right, I'm going to bring this down a little bit. And the key to this mixer is I have to select, when I push the select button, anything I do up into this top section relates only to that one particular channel. So for example, if I wanted to change the equalizer, make it brighter, clearer, warmer, softer, I can come over here to this button that says equalizer, and right beside it says view, and we have a very nasty looking kind of an EQ curve. So what I'm going to do, I don't know how that got there, but what I'm going to do is kind of flatten it back out a little bit. And see if we can get this back down to kind of a 0 here. Okay. All right, so we won't spend any detail after this. I'll try to correct the EQ, put a little music curve in there. So therefore, any setting that I want to do to the mixer, if I want to add gain control, if I need to add phantom power, if I want to add a low frequency roll off, which takes away some of the bass or the rumble on some particular instruments and vocal microphones, let me mute that for now. If I want to add some compression, so if I had a relatively Pentecostal style pastor who was loud, soft, I could come over here and I could activate the compressor, which kind of acts like a governor on a golf cart. Once he gets to a certain level, relatively, it will kind of hold him or put the grips on it. Another great thing about compressors is when I have 2 or 3 singers and dynamically they may not be matched as well, putting a compressor on there will kind of give them a ceiling, so they all kind of seem to hit the top there. Compressors are very popular, very useful, and I love them. Equalizer control, this actually works into our bus sends, which I'll go to in a second, which we have set up as monitors, and we're also recording. And really that's about it for this section. The purpose of our setup here was to make this very simple, very easy to operate for the church, knowing that they don't participate in audio like we do all the time. These people work like everybody else, and then they volunteer on Sunday. So we don't want to make it to where it's so overwhelming that the service suffers because of technical type issues or glitches. All right, so basically any adjustment I would like to make, for example, the choir microphones, the DVD player, any of the wireless microphones, I have to select the channel that I'm controlling first, and then I have the options of doing whatever I would like to do with it up on the top part of the console. There again, we went through a training process with the church, so they know those type of setups. Okay, that's the input section. This section over here are the outputs, and in this particular project, we signed groups, meaning we could take all the wireless microphones and assign them to one particular fader, or all the instruments to hear, or any other type of microphone. So for example, once the band stopped playing, since I have the instruments assigned to a group, I can come over here and I can just mute it, and all the instruments on stage would be muted through the audio system. Their amplifiers would still be on, of course, unless they turn them off, but I can mute all the instruments, or I can mute all the wireless microphones simultaneously. So if I have 4 wireless microphones over here operating with a group, I can come over here, mute them, they all go away. The second part of the bus groups are our stage monitors. Monitors meaning speakers that we have on stage for performers or persons singing with pre-recorded soundtracks or live music, allows them to hear back through a speaker on stage. And we have those set up as, in this setup, as stage right, which are some little hot spots in a floor monitor, stage left, which is where the organ is at, and then we have speakers back into the choir. Also, I have one other bus output which feeds over to a laptop, which goes to a recording. So, first of all, stage right, stage left, choir, and recording. Knowing what I know now, of course I can mute any of those monitors at any time. But let's say, for example, that the choir on bus number 3 happens to be singing with a musical soundtrack. This will be a normal situation. CD player will be playing, well, it's still playing, I'll let it go. What I'd like to do is, let's say the choir's up there singing and they say, we can't hear the music soundtrack because when I'm playing it out here now. So I'm playing it out here on the house system, but I want to be able to send them back some on stage. So here's what I do. I always select first what I want to control. And what I want to control are the choir foldback monitors. So I hit select, and then I go to this little button here that says Sends on Fader. And as soon as I hit Sends on Fader, then anything in this section that I turn up or down will be affected going to the choir monitor speakers. So, for example, what I'm going to do is select choir, Sends on Fader, and I'm going to come over here to my CD player. What I'm doing, that increase in level is actually what's going through my choir monitors. So if they needed to hear the laptop while I've got this setting, I can turn the laptop computer, DVD player up. I'm going to turn it back a little bit. And then once I turn this button, flashing button, Sends on Fader back off, this goes back to normal settings. And there's my house system. So to review, turn that back off. To review, if I wanted to change anything in the monitors, then I have to select what monitor I would like to change. For example, stage right, hotspot, Sends on Fader, and now I can go through here and add or delete anything that's going to the stage right hotspot monitors. Most important is I have to turn the Sends on Fader back off, and then I'm back to having a separated console. Okay. I know that's a quick overview, but the most important part that the church wanted to know was, okay, after we get all this set, how do we store and delete everything or reboot everything? There's a little section right here in the audio mixer called Scenes, and I'll try to keep my bald head out of the way here, but in the section here we can hit View in Scenes, and now we have a screen set up that we may be able to see. And what we do is we scroll over right here that says Yes, and we come over here to our scene settings. Currently we have a setting in scene number 1, 2. I did a test yesterday. We put it number 5, and number 13 is in the backup. So if I wanted to save what I have here, the second button here says Save, and I can label it if I'd like. I have dials where I could label things across. And if I just hit, I'm going to save it to 000, and I hit save, and there it is. It's already in there. Now, how do I want to recall anything? I do the same thing. I come over here, I hit the view button in my scenes. I scroll over 1 till it says scenes, and I would like to come over here and load in setting number 5, which we were in the church yesterday doing some testing. So I want to, this button here says load. I want to bring it down to where it highlights number 5. I don't know if we can see it in the video. I don't think we can. Highlight number 5, and I hit load, and then it says load scene question mark. If so, hit yes. I hit yes, and then my settings, which are the same today, would go back to the settings from that yesterday. Okay? That's a general overview. I'm not going to get in any detail on the video because we've already instructed the church about how the USB recorder works, monitor outputs, some effects, tying it to the router, internet control, with those type of things. So this is Joey O'Neill from Sound Systems in Myrtle Beach, and a general overview of the church at Conway Free Will Baptist Church in Conway, South Carolina. And if there are any questions for me, I can be reached at 843-602-5883, which is a cell phone number.